1. You are not happy. Let's see these two scenarios. The office shift ends at 6 p.m. on a Friday. Nithyanan logs out of the system and runs out of the office building. He catches up with his college friends for dinner at a fine Persian restaurant that night. They laugh a lot as they revisit their old memories. Meeting friends actually uplifts the soul, he posts online. Then they go to the bar and drink all the way into the night, chatting and dancing to the hard rock music on the stage. While at the same time, Satyanan couldn't leave work at 6 p.m. as his code showed errors. He kept debugging and trying other alternatives. Finally, it was 9:30 p.m. when it showed the desired result. He logged out of the system and went back to his room, reading his favorite nonfiction on the way. He made bindi fry and had it with rotis. Then he watched an episode on Netflix and dozed off on the sofa. Now, which of these two people do you think are having an unhappy life? Well, it might look surprising, but the answer is neither of them. Or to put it in the context of the famous movie 3 Idiots, Char is as happy as Rancho. This is one common myth about happiness. Society expects happiness to always be a visible thing, and that it should be expressed in specific patterns. However, there is a lot of difference between being happy and showing the world that you are happy. The latter is only a minor subset of the former one, and it hugely depends on the societal perception of happiness, which may or may not be your definition. For example, a person sitting with a group of friends, laughing and sharing food with them in a crowded restaurant is considered happy and enthusiastic, while a person sitting alone and eating is considered to be lonely and sad. But it can be that he had avoided his friends and came there purposely alone to enjoy his favorite meal without any distraction. His happiness came from relishing it bite by bite. A person with a long beard spending the whole weekend inside a room smoking and reading some huge books is considered depressed and boring. His happiness is coming from decoding the deep philosophical poems, and he is as happy as the person posting a selfie with his friends at Oktoberfest. The problem here is not happiness, but that their behavior doesn't fit into how society defines happiness. Films, media, and social networks often showcase this. People who slog day and night and do nothing but work are depicted as unhappy people who don't value life. They had to be stopped and lectured, come on, you should get a life. You should be happy. And then they realize the celebration of life by drinking, partying, surfing, parasailing, and skydiving. What makes you conclude that they are not happy? How can you decide that this is the recipe for happiness for others? I've seen a lot of people, like researchers, scientists, developers, and entrepreneurs, who yearn to work every day and are not tired even after 18 hours of work. They enjoy work like a glass of wine. They all find the same happiness in work that someone else finds in skydiving. But because of such perceptions, they are conditioned to believe that they are not happy, something is wrong with them, etc. For example, now, say, after the weekend, Satyanan goes to the office and Nithyanan tells him you should enjoy. You should celebrate life, be happy every minute. This is the nth time he is listening to this. So, next time, he goes with him uninterested. He is not a fan of Persian food. He hates loud music. He doesn't like beer. But he just sits with them so as to not disappoint them. He secretly starts feeling irritated that he is wasting time at a place he has no interest in. Thus, his unhappiness curve begins. You want to be happy because society has convinced you that so-called people are happy all the time. You want to be happy because you want to fit in. But why should you fit into the parameters of some made-up definition of normalcy? You're exhausted because you're always pretending to be something you are not. You are constantly trying to reach this non-existent, ideal state of emotional well-being. It's not real. You are being set up to fail. To always be chill. So, the most basic and sort of obvious downside of being a chill person is that it teaches people what you tolerate. If you're chill with somebody reaching into your bag of chips without asking, then it teaches that person that it's okay to do that, and hence will repeat that action. Another example, if you're okay with somebody trash talking you, and you really don't mind, it teaches them that they can trash talk you, and there would be no consequences. I play football with my friends, and every time I don't make a catch, it's like an instinct that they trash talk me. But when one of my less chill and more popular friends missed a catch, it's apparently a nice try or that was my bad. The next downside of being a chill person is that people will take you for granted. I would assume that if you're chill, you would also be nice, as nothing really bothers you. People will take you for granted because, come on, there are not many people like you. It will teach people that you are chill, therefore, they can use you, and you wouldn't mind. This leads to another downside, which I'll get into in the next paragraph to make it look more professional. The next downside is that people will stop inviting you to hang out with them. Happens to the best of us. What I mean is, in the last paragraph, people take you for granted. When people take you for granted, it can and will lead to you not getting invited to hang out with friends. People know that you are chill, take it for granted, and simply don't have to include you in anything if they don't want to because they already know you won't react and you'll be chill about it. Happened to me, and it may happen to you. The next downside is that you would eventually turn into that popular, unpopular kid. You're that chill person that everybody likes and is friends with but never invites to hang out with. You're that kid who knows everybody, including all the popular and unpopular, and everyone in between. You're that kid that girls love talking to, but never actually gets a girlfriend. So, maybe start unchilling yourself. Maybe people will start taking you more seriously. Show people that you actually care. Show people that what they're doing is not right. Show people that you actually have emotions. 3. Being young is great. School and college years are the best of your life. Nonsense. For some people, yes, this is true, but many hate their childhood and teens and only start to feel comfortable when they reach their 30 seconds. I loathed my adolescence in my 20 seconds. Now, at last, I've stopped giving a damn what other people think of me. I don't have to go to parties or clubs, and I no longer feel like people are watching and judging me. 4. Multiculturalism and mass immigration are always good. It can enrich society, but not always. I live in England, where we have many different immigrant groups. Personally, I have a very high opinion of the Indians, Nepalese, and Filipinos I've worked with. I'm also very happy to have other Europeans move here. But there are immigrant groups I like much less. We all know which ethnic group is responsible for the stabbings and gang problems in London. It isn't Chinese boys, let's put it that way. Mass immigration causes all sorts of problems, and assimilation isn't always successful. People often have different attitudes and different standards. In one culture, privacy, corruption, cruelty to animals, sexual assault, etc. are viewed differently from other cultures. Japan is racially homogeneous and is the smartest, cleanest, most civilized country I have ever visited. Clearly, they don't need to be enriched. 5. The cure for loneliness is to get out there and meet new people. It isn't. The cure for loneliness is intimacy and love. The cure is spending time with the right sorts of people. Spend time with the wrong sort. People with whom you have nothing in common. People who are vain, shallow, arrogant, and spiteful, and you will feel more lonely. We are far too isolated. In the good old days, people were happier because they knew their neighbors and had a stronger sense of community. I already know my neighbors, and 2/3 of them are boring or vile. When people lived in small villages, they had to contend with nosiness, gossip, rumors, and spite. Life in those small, idyllic villages was mean, petty, and hierarchical. Everyone watched everyone else and spent much of their time trying to pull one another back and down. I love being able to isolate myself and socialize only with people I want to socialize with. In the past, that would have provoked my neighbors. They'd have bitterly resented me for acting like you are better than us and would have persecuted me. 6. People who don't have children are selfish. People who do have children are actually selfish. Overpopulation is the single biggest problem facing the world today. Children enrich your life and bring you happiness. Sometimes this is true. In other cases, they ruin your life. And it isn't only those tricky early years. What about when your daughter is 16 and is made pregnant by an absolute scumbag? Or when your son becomes addicted to opioids? Even if you avoid all those pitfalls, the worry can be crushing. I don't know how people cope when their daughter leaves for college. I think I'd die of fear and worry. And all the cliches about it being part of life, moving on, gotta let them go, wouldn't help at all. 7. Education, intelligence, and hard work will lead to money and success. No, what matters is confidence, assertiveness, cunning, arrogance, charm, and luck. Life is a meaningful journey. Life is a meaningless and pointless slog towards old age, pain, and death. Most of the big things, like your wedding day, are stressful. That doesn't mean you can't be happy. But real happiness comes from the small, trivial, meaningless things: a hot bath, a good book, a bottle of wine, a drug high, a DVD box set. People who live alone are lonely, unlovable losers. A bad relationship is the loneliest place in the world. Living alone, however, can be great, especially if you have family and close friends nearby.